on your own storytelling platform, Bol Dada Bol. Namaskar, a warm welcome to all of you. My name is Nilanjan Datta. On your own storytelling platform, we have been carrying a series about the contribution of the Indian Super League to Indian football. We have already had 2 episodes. यदि आप लोग उसको मिस किए हो, we request you to go back to the dashboard of our channel बोल दादा बोल और वहां पे आप लोग देखिए part 1 and part 2. और आज we are here with part 3 to make you all remember that this is a series and part 4, part 5 and some other episodes are here to follow and will be following. We understand there are 2 school of thoughts, 2 extreme school of thoughts since the conceptualization of the Indian Super League in India. There's been one school of thought who feel that the league hasn't contributed much to the overall ecosystem of Indian football. Whereas there's also another school of thought, another set of fans who always believe that the league has contributed hugely and immensely to the overall paradigm of Indian football. We are here on this platform just to give you facts and bring in front of you some of the positives or what we feel have been the positives for you to decide and debate. Put in your comments down below. We are not forcing you to believe us, but what we feel on your own storytelling platform. We are just here to speak about that and make a mention about that for all the right reasons. For example, episode 1, we had spoken about how the style of possessional football has been adopted by all the ISL clubs or most of the ISL clubs, and in turn that has gone on to help the Indian national team adopt that style in a much more easier format. One of the contributions. We spoke about the awareness levels of players in episode 2, a fact which no one in the world can deny. प्लेयर्स के टैलेंट था, इंटेंट था, अवेयरनेस नहीं था. आज के दिन में अवेयरनेस और इंटेंट और टैलेंट इकट्ठा मिल गया है. दिस इज ऑलवेज स्पोकन अबाउट बाय ऑल स्टेक होल्डर्स. दैट वाज आवर episode 2. And today we speak about another contribution. Admit, deny, agree, disagree. The development of infrastructure in Indian football has come after the Indian Super League was conceptualized. Obviously, after that, the FIFA Under-17 World Cup India 2017 हमारा देश में हुआ था. But for a moment, whether you are a critic or you are a fan of the league, of the Indian Super League, just for a moment, put your hands on your heart and think about prior to 2014 the infrastructure in the country. क्या था? हमारा देश में इंफ्रा था नहीं. इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर हमारा देश में बहुत ही कम था. 1-2 पॉकेट्स में कुछ अच्छे स्टेडियाज थे. We were not a country which boasted about good infra all throughout the country. Okay, look at the infra. देखिए, इंफ्रा भी डिबेटेबल है. क्विक बिग क्वेश्चन मार्क है, उस पर भी मैं आ रहा हूं. Prior to the Indian Super League, old timers को नहीं बोलेंगे, people who follow football, go back to the quality of grounds which we had. Just go back. Hard, bouncy, sometimes even full of pebbles. The artificial turfs were not good at all, not much conducive for good football. There were grassless grounds, patches of grass कई जगह पे नहीं थे जब हम लाइव टेलीविजन देखते थे. All of that today is a thing of the past. The Indian Super League has brought in world-class playing turfs all across the country. और हमारे सामने ये visible है. हम माने, हम नहीं माने. But it has happened. How many of the clubs prior to 2014 played under the lights? दोपहर में मैचेस होता था because there weren't floodlights out there. The clubs kind of avoided, not all, most of them playing under the lights despite the Football Federation paying some revenue for the lights, or at times the entire money for the floodlights to be glowing. How many of them played under the lights? We didn't. Isn't that an improvement in the infrastructure of football in the country? Can we deny that? एक स्टेडियम को आप कैसे डिवाइड कर सकते हैं? द गैलरीज, नाउडेज वी हैव बकेट सीट्स, उस समय गैलरीज का ब्यूटिफिकेशन था नहीं. लोग बोले अरे गैलरी का ब्यूटिफिकेशन होके फायदा क्या है? बिकॉज इट्स ए फीफा मैंडेट, इट्स एन AFC मैंडेट. You need to have bucket seats and bucket chairs for you to be getting permission to host an international match. Period and simple. Fans के लिए better facilities दिया गया. I've been to most areas all across the country at a time. During those days, हम लोग के पास था ही नहीं. यदि था भी तो the toilets were not working. They were not opened up. So the basic amenities and facilities for the fans in the stands wasn't there. And जब मैच हम देखते हैं, there's an operational team which takes care of the matches. Each and every international stadium has an operational team. Each and every domestic match has an operational team. So the facilities for operation out there, जो ऑटो पायलट सिस्टम में आज के दिन पे चल रहा है, उस समय हम लोग का था नहीं. The dressing rooms, the players didn't have dressing rooms at all. कुछ भी तरीके से they used to just huddle, और वहां पे today we are giving them the basic facilities which we ought to be giving them, because that's part of the entire football setup. Can we deny? We can't. आप ISL देखते हुए पॉइंट आउट कर दीजिए कि एक भी दिन का मैच, अच्छा ये ग्राउंड खराब था. There are other countries who still struggle with the infrastructure. We don't in our country. Halaki, there's also another school of thought, mostly technical people, who kind of bring forward कि हमारा देश में तो India doesn't have the good infra. In comparison to Europe, we don't have. But in comparison to most countries in Asia, our infra is very good enough. We have hosted an Under-17 World Cup for men. We have hosted an Under-17 World Cup for women. We have hosted the AFC Under-16 finals in Goa. We have hosted an AFC Asian Cup for women. After inspection, lot of criteria put into place where only these tournaments granted or given the green signal to be held in India. ऐसे नहीं आ गया है. Because we have the infra. आज के दिन पे we are good enough to host any competition in the world. हाँ, FIFA World Cup के लिए you need something more, but most of the competitions of the world we can. And there's been a huge contribution from the Indian Super League in that regard. I remember always, this is a very favorite story of mine. India versus Ghana FIFA Under-17 World Cup at the Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium in New Delhi. We lost that match. Not going into the result of that match. Obviously, my journalist friends, I've also been a journalist who try to prick out something negative always and kind of shy their heads away shy themselves away from writing the positives. I'm not asking them to be writing about positives each and every time. They need to be neutral. They need to be critics, not negative. A friend of mine asked the Ghana coach, what about the infrastructure in India, in the country? Are you happy with it? Obviously, with India having played the second match of the competition against Colombia well, there were many journalists. Everyone expected an answer. We have got a headline. The Ghana coach will be criticizing the infrastructure of the country. And spat came the reply from the coach of Under-17 national team Ghana. He said, pointed out to the ground, because we were there in a glass house which had window panes. The stadium was visible, fully lit, majestic. Well, this kind of ground, one ground, in the entire country of Ghana we don't have. That wasn't carried in the newspapers, but had anything been told by the coach, that would have made headlines in the newspapers. So the infra of the country is good enough, and all those technical people who try to kind of educate us for their own convenience, saying that we don't have the infra in the country, in India, even for debate's sake, we take it for granted that in comparison to Europe, we don't have that infra. A country like Ghana doesn't have any infra in their country. African countries do not have infra in their country. But they are better than us in football. So infra is not the last word for technical people. That's only an excuse. But let's not divert from the topic. Coming back to the infra, India's match in the Mardeka Championship against Malaysia, the ground was not up to the mark. When have our country produced such, if I may use, not up to the mark grounds for an international match? Since 2014 ever? Not really. We are now playing under the lights. We are getting prime time television in the Indian Super League. Because यदि आपको टैप करनी है मार्केट को, you need to be in the cozy drawing rooms in the evening. जब लोग हाथ में रिमोट लेके लोग टीवी देखते हैं, आजकल लोग मोबाइल पे भी देख सकते हैं, लैपटॉप ऑनलाइन स्ट्रीमिंग भी देख सकते हैं. Whatever it is, you need to be giving them at the right time and at the right moment, which has been one of the significant impacts of the Indian Super League. Can anyone deny? I can't, at least. I honestly can't. One of the very major contributions which is not spoken about much, and it was because of the infra of that the Indian Super League had brought in and kind of put into place. It was easier for the FIFA Under-17 World Cup 2017 to be getting the green signal, and they were mostly and always held in stadiums where the ISL was held. So upgrading the infrastructure was easier. Operationally, they were stadiums which were absolutely cool. Autopilot mode, you could do an operation, the lights were in full glow, the lux was in right place, there were bucket seats all around. Contribution of the Indian Super League. As we said, the series will go on. One of the episodes we are putting in today. By the way, need to thank you for all your valuable comments and the support which we received. Keep supporting us, keep spreading the word, because we are trying to give you good content, give you the right content without any agenda. We are not into the number game at all, but we do want you to just spread the word, because the more this community grows, the better for awareness of Indian football. बोलते रहिए, बोल दादा बोल. नमस्कार. नीलांजन दत्ता signing off. Take care. Namaskar. Bye bye.